I own what's happening in my schools, but this is not just a problem limited to the schools in Woonsocket. This is a pandemic in our community. But I'm the leader, and I've got to try to figure out a way to work with everyone so that this can stop. For about the last 5 years, probably longer, we've seen an immense uptick in violence and fights, especially at the secondary level, the middle schools and certainly the high school, and our community. There are gangs in this community. That doesn't help. Again, it's not an excuse, but let's not fool ourselves. There are. There are adults in this community who groom students from our high school, our middle schools, and yes, even our elementary schools to get involved in gangs. And I'm not saying that what happened on Monday was gang related. I can't say that for sure, so I'm not going to stand here and say it wasn't, and I'm not going to say that it was. Let me talk a little bit about the community with respect to fighting. I don't know how many of you here, I mean, it seems like a lot of you here see the social media. I mean, how can you not see it, unfortunately? That's a cancer on society. Good evening. My name is Patrick McGee, Superintendent of Schools in the Woonsocket Education Department. I've got quite a list here of talking points. Before I get into that, however, I want to start by talking about the situation with the bathrooms at Villanova Middle School. I was not aware of that. I know Mr. Notariani spoke and explained that situation, but I can assure you that this week I will be addressing that with the administration of Villanova Middle School. I want to talk a little bit about the fights that occurred at Woonsocket High School on Monday. I'd like to set the record straight. Please do not think that I'm here to make any excuses. I'm not. There were 5 fights. They were separate fights, and there were 13 arrests. That's unacceptable. Plain and simple. The fights involved some students who were new to our district from other communities, but again, that's no excuse. The fights did not include any weapons, thank God. I want to thank the Woonsocket Police Department. I want to thank the Woonsocket teachers and staff, Woonsocket High School teachers and staff, and the administrators for their assistance. And mostly I want to thank the students, because as everybody here this evening very eloquently spoke about the fact that enough's enough. There are students, the vast majority of our students who attend Woonsocket High School are great kids. They come to learn, they come to support, and be positive students and role models in our community. So I want to thank them for their support. Believe it or not, at the high school, the school year started pretty good. until Monday. But again, I'm not making excuses. I'm just simply saying that happened. Let me talk a little bit about the history of fighting, not only in the school department, but in the community. Because this is a community problem. Make no mistake about it. I own what's happening in my schools. But this is not just a problem limited to the schools in Woonsocket. This is a pandemic in our community. But I'm the leader, and I've got to try to figure out a way to work with everyone so that this can stop. For about the last 5 years, probably longer, we've seen an immense uptick in violence and fights, especially at the secondary level, the middle schools and certainly the high school, and our community. There are gangs in this community. That doesn't help. Again, it's not an excuse, but let's not fool ourselves. There are. There are adults in this community who groom students from our high school, our middle schools, and yes, even our elementary schools to get involved in gangs. And I'm not saying that what happened on Monday was gang related. I can't say that for sure, so I'm not going to stand here and say it wasn't, and I'm not going to say that it was. Let me talk a little bit about the community with respect to fighting. I don't know how many of you here, I mean, it seems like a lot of you here see the social media. I mean, how can you not see it, unfortunately? That's a cancer on society, as far as I'm concerned. When you have parents, as occurred 2 days ago, driving their children to Dunn Park to fight, all the while videotaping it and posting it, is disgusting. Yes, we have a lot of work to do in the Woonsocket Education Department. And yes, that's on my shoulders, and I take responsibility. But we can't do this alone. We have to have the support and the cooperation of our parents, because we're not the ones driving them to Dunn Park or to Cass Park to fight, filming it. Parent involvement is critical. So you might be asking, well, okay, yeah, what has the Woonsocket Education Department done over the years to try to curb the violence, both within our schools and outside of our schools? Because make no mistake about this, the amount of intervention, the number of mediations, the amount of counseling that our hardworking and dedicated counselors, social workers, teachers, and administrators do on a daily basis is astounding. The number of incidents that are avoided because our dedicated, hardworking professionals who work well beyond the school hours is admirable, but unfortunately, it's necessary. Gentlemen from the Nonviolence Institute, we've worked with the Nonviolence Institute for about the last 4 years. They've been very helpful here in the community. Again, I say community. They've been in our schools, they're in our community. I have a superintendent's safety cabinet meeting that's been meeting for about 3 or 4 years. This is a group of individuals where we meet every other week and we track the violence that's occurring in our schools, the violence that's occurring in our community, so that we can try to be proactive and get out in front of it. All I'm simply saying is I don't want people to think that the Woonsocket Education Department is doing nothing. because the results unfortunately don't show it, but we work extremely hard. But it can't just be on our shoulders. Many times over the last 3 years, Mr. Quadros, our Director of Social Emotional Learning, our principals from the middle schools and the high school have met and meet with students who fight. So students are typically suspended if they get into a fight. Before they're readmitted, they meet with me in my office on Fridays. And I can tell you that my Fridays are pretty much devoted solely to that. One after another, after another, after another. I'm getting sick and tired of the excuses from parents, and I'm getting sick and tired of excuses from students. It has to stop. It's not fair to our students and to our staff who come to school each day and want to learn and get an education and want to teach our students. I've had enough of it. Somebody earlier said, we suspend and do, we suspend, and they come back, and it happens again. And we suspend and they come back and it happens again. And I'm not saying here that we're going to break the law, because there are laws. There are laws that we have to follow. But I can tell you this, moving forward, we've had conversations today, as the mayor spoke, had a meeting with the mayor, the police chief, some district staff. I met with the union president, Mr. Stewart, today. And I'm going to tell you, moving forward, we are looking at if students are involved in these fights, and certainly if they're repeaters, but not necessarily, if we can establish that a student is a demonstrable threat, then there is a very strong opportunity or possibility that they will be removed from the school setting, potentially up to the remainder of the school year. I've had it. This is it. I am sick and tired of this behavior. We need the parents to work with us because we can't do it alone. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to sit by any longer watching these kids come into our schools and continue to disrupt and get into fights and cause havoc, because our kids don't deserve it and our teachers don't deserve it. Briefly talking about cell phones. That's a conversation we're going to have this year. Mr. Stewart and others, I think Mr. Andrews, spoke of that. Enough's enough. There are other districts. I realize that we're a large district. We have a large high school. But I'm not using that as an excuse. We have to do something with cell phones moving forward. Yes, we have a policy. That policy says students are not supposed to have cell phones. And somebody used the analogy of, just the inability to control that. But I can tell you that I will be meeting with our policy subcommittee and the school committee to discuss the use of cell phones in our schools next year. Because I don't believe every student needs a cell phone in school. They don't. In fact, when we do have emergencies, they get in the way. Oftentimes, false information is shared, and it's not helpful. But I'm telling you, things are going to change, and I'm letting those students and their families know that we're taking back the middle schools and the high school, and this is going to end. Thank you.